to It Happened on the Job. We are episode 19. We're back here with somebody in person, live. No more Zoom calls for a little bit, hopefully.
Hopefully, cross our fingers.
Yeah, right.
Until the governor says no.
But today we got Brian Maag with Top Flight Construction.
Top Flight Industries.
Top Flight Industries.
Yeah.
Thank you. Brian and Brian.
Yeah, Brian and Brian.
Perfect.
Our own show. We could start our own show.
There
Leave
you
you out.
So tell us a little bit about, I know we kind of went into it a little bit before we started recording, but, how you got started where you're at and to where you are now.
I was originally licensed in 1982 and signed my first job and began it in January of 83.
That's right around when I was born. Does that make you feel any better?
No. But yeah, and I was in business as Orange County Drywall, and was working along, and my dad actually joined me a couple years later, or actually it wasn't even a couple years, it was less than a year later. And we were in business together for a number of years and then split up. Most of that was life passage stuff where he was wanting to gear down and I was wanting to gear up, and that didn't play well.
So when you say he joined you, did you not have, was this not like a family thing that you got into? How did you get into, what made you even want to start as a contractor? How did you go down that path?
Well, I've been working in the field, in the trade for a long time. My father was a drywall hanger.
Okay.
He started in the 50s.
And you just got tired of working for somebody.
And yeah, exactly. And he was working, at the time I went into business, he was working for the union, and he was doing some counting drywall and doing stuff for them and verifying union contractors' work. And I started, and sometime later he came in with me, and it was a big boon to me because he knew a lot of people and made a lot of connections, and we were able to develop a substantial amount of work. And but after a while that kind of faded on him. He wanted to play golf all day, and I wanted to build a business. It was just a matter of a guy who was 30 years old versus a guy who was 55 or 60 years old. Right. So, and that kind of worked out that way. But then sometime later, I formed Top Flight, and just reorganization with construction defect lawsuits and stuff like that. It was just time there was just too much of a tail there. Right. So it was time to reorganize, and we did that. And Top Flight has been incorporated since 99 or so, roughly, somewhere in there. And during the recession, I kind of shut it down for a period of time. Did some other things, bought and sold houses, and did, a few other things to make a buck. But the business was such that it didn't make sense to have staff and all that stuff and just pay people to show up.
Yeah.
When there was nothing to do. So I did that. And then after the recession was offered a job as an estimator for a company and worked for them for a year and a half, 2 years, and then was offered another job by another drywall contractor to manage and run his operations. And that, again, lasted for a couple years, and just decided 3 or 4 years ago to just reorganize this thing and just get Top Flight back operating. And that's where we are today.
And you got your son working with you as well, right?
Yeah, Shane and I are in this together. And
how does Shane get started in the business?
Well,
for you?
Yeah, it's an industry thing. It's a family thing. Yeah. It's he started estimating for me probably in, I would guess, sometime in the early 2000s, and learned how to estimate. And then as we moved into the recession in 2009, in that area, he took a job with somebody else just because I was shutting it down. I was, and he went to work for a builder and did a couple other things. And
So the point you're at right now, are you kind of more like your dad was, just trying to stay steady Eddie, nice and easy, or are you like
you see history repeating?
Yeah,
Right?
I'm just kind of curious. Is Shane the one wanting to grow now, and you kind of want to take it easy, or where are you guys at from a growth standpoint?
I'm very sensitive to that. Shane, I'm very sensitive to the issues my dad and I had, and how that plays out with my son and I.
Right.
And I actually work hard at treading softly with that. But yeah, I'm 66 years old. I'm not getting any younger.
None of us are.
when you get to be in your upper 60s, you start thinking about the light at the end of the tunnel, and it's getting brighter and brighter. And, I was thinking the other day at my funeral, they'll probably take the flowers off the top of the casket and throw it out into the crowd to see who's next. But sure, I look at retirement, and then I think, well, what would I do in retirement? So I don't know. I go back and forth on it a lot. The big driving force these days is probably the state of California. I just as soon get the hell out of this place.
What are you talking about? It's the easiest state in the union to work for.
Oh yeah, wonderful. Yeah, but you can't go to the beach now.
Yeah, right.
Did you read the paper this morning?
I did. Yeah.
Good times.
It's instead of give me liberty or give me death, it's better safe than sorry.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's really, really sickening.
So, kind of on that topic, how is your business working through this right now? Are you guys still on as many jobs? I would assume you're probably not bidding as many, just because the future is unclear. It's kind of what we've heard.
The picture is, what are the builders doing?
Right.
We're gonna flow with what the builders are doing, because we do volume production work. We don't do room additions and patchwork and very, very few custom homes. So what are the builders doing? What are the Lennars doing? What are the D.R. Hortons doing? What are the K. Hovnanians? It looks like there hasn't been a lot of reaction yet. I know sales are down. I talked to one builder the other day. They said they're averaging 10 sales a week to negative sales.
Wow.
So
people dropping out of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And that happened for 4 or 5 weeks, and now it looks as though sales are picking back up. That's kind of weird to me, because the longer we go into this, it seems to me
You'd think that trend would continue.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I think that, and we saw it kind of a lot in our clients. We saw those first few weeks where it was almost like a fear factor thing. Everybody just kind of, they say shelter in place. Everybody literally just kind of sheltered, kind of went,
stopped working.
Oh crap, what do we do? And then as this thing goes on, they realize, we can still go about life, and life can still happen. So I think that's kind of what we're seeing now is.
Well, I see it out on the freeways.
Yeah.
When a month ago, you drive out on the freeways at 7:30 in the morning, and it was about 15 to 20% of normal.
Yeah.
Today, it's running probably 40 to 50% of normal.
Right.
So people are going back to work, even if Gavin Newsom doesn't like it, or even if
People got to pay their bills. Yeah.
Nancy's nephew.
Yeah. No, I think there's definitely, like you said, regardless of policy or whatever, but anybody's saying, there's definitely a feeling of people just getting over it, I guess, if you will, and just finding a way to move on, whether it's inside the restrictions or pushing the boundaries a little bit. I think stuff's going.
I think I predicted like 3 weeks ago that if this carried on much longer, that there was going to be some serious civil unrest.
Oh yeah.
And I think we're moving in that direction.
My aunt was over last night, and she was talking about, like, she's fearful of rioting, because that's definitely. But I mean, you see it from a construction standpoint. They're saying Monday, up in the Bay Area, because the Bay Area closed down all of construction.
You gotta-
Six or seven counties.
Define
Yeah.
what date that is, because
Yeah.
this will probably come out
Yeah,
after that date.
May the 4th.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, no, they were the first and only ones to kind of shut down all of construction, because construction was still allowed to be happening in most areas of the country and even in California. But so I feel like that loosening back up is
An indication.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like you said, a light at the end of the tunnel, getting a little bit brighter. Hopefully.
I hope things turn around. I mean, people can't. I talked to my cleaning lady this morning. Her son does DJ work for weddings and stuff.
Or did DJ
Lost
work?
6 weddings, over $20,000. This guy's lost an income.
Yep.
Yep.
And he is just livid, and can't but
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, right when all this started, my wife's one of her really good friends, their wedding venue canceled on them, like a few days beforehand.
venue.
It was right when it all started. The venue said, "Sorry, we can't do anything." So we literally threw together a wedding in our house. Luckily, it was only a small wedding. She only had 30, 40 people coming, and did a brunch wedding at our house.
Yeah.
Because I mean,
it's crazy. And then
Yeah.
and we're stuck at home with our spouses. That's
All day
that's a lot of
long.
all the. My a good friend of my wife's came over the other day and said, "Where's Jeannie at?" I said, "She's in the backyard." So the lady goes back out there. She comes back in. She says, I didn't see her out there. I said, "Oh, well, you'll have to take a shovel." So
there you go. So what do you got? What do you see? I think somebody said you just came from a job site. Was that right?
Yes, yeah.
So what are you seeing on job sites? Are you seeing? Because we're hearing that there's a lot of OSHA things and some other things that are coming down. Are you seeing a lot of that stuff on job sites yet? As far as cleanliness or
Masks and gloves.
stations
and,
or
social
you know,
distancing.
more in the Inland Empire.
okay.
The job I was just on, the superintendent, he came down with the China bat fever, and so he's been at home. But he's the only one I know that has gotten it.
Yeah.
That I know of.
Right.
I think I might have had it. I think my wife might have had it.
I love that you just called it the China bat fever.
Right. Isn't that what it is?
Yeah, it is. Call it what it is.
Yeah. But out in the Inland Empire, I was told by a builder that in San Bernardino County, they're insisting everybody have masks on
Yeah.
while you're working. That's hard because you're breathing heavy and
I was gonna
sweating,
say,
especially in the
It's
hot
gotta be
weather.
restricted. Yeah.
And that they were on 2 job sites by 2 separate builders and cited 13 people $1,000
Wow.
apiece for not having masks.
That's crazy.
It is. It's insanity.
Well, we were talking to was it Daniel Williams? That he's a what's the word? Consultant. That's the word I was looking for big steel erection companies, and so he does big commercial work. But he says a lot of these big commercial jobs, they got full body scanners, temporal scanners, temperature scanners as you walk in and out of job sites, that they're checking everybody, and it's just. I feel like it's going to be the new normal, at least for a couple of years, which is unfortunate to say, but I know OSHA just came out with a bunch of new regulations, about different job site stuff as far as hand washing stations and social distancing and all that stuff, and all the. You're not only going to be required to have an IIPP, but also now a disease and virus protection program and a bunch of other stuff too. So it's coming. It's good. I think there's definitely going to be a new normal when it comes to job site.
Well, I'm proud to
safety
say I have not
cleanliness.
worn a mask. Not yet.
Yeah.
I've done it once. I had to do it once. It was at a Stater Brothers last week on Lake Arrowhead, and you couldn't get into the grocery
A lot
store
of the
unless you
grocery stores
proved
do
that you
that.
had a mask on. It's the only mask I've ever worn since this thing started.
I know Ralph's is doing
I was
it.
cussing
Actually.
under my breath all the way into the store.
Ralph's has been doing it for a while, for a couple weeks, and then I just saw Costco starting Monday.
That's right.
Is requiring masks now too.
Are they?
Luckily, the Stater Brothers around the corner from my house hasn't required it yet, but yeah, it's
Stater Brothers and Arrowhead, yeah, for sure.
Or all the more reason to get out of California.
yeah.
It's crazy.
Yep.
Where are you gonna go?
Oh, I don't know.
Where would you like to go?
The thing is, I have 14 kids. I have 14. I have 4 kids and 13 grandkids, all here in California locally.
Yeah.
So you just go buy a big piece of land in Montana and you build a bunch of compounds, make it into a compound.
Yeah.
You move them all out. Yeah.
Yeah. But no, to move out of state it's not something my wife wants to do because of the kids and grandkids.
Yeah.
But it's if I'm going to retire, my
This
money's
is not the place to do it.
Yeah, my money's going to go a lot further in Arizona or Texas or So
I've been looking at Flagstaff, Arizona.
Really?
I don't like hot. But
Yeah, Flagstaff is nice.
Yeah.
You have the
yeah, it is nice.
So back to work stuff, because that's why we're here, right? Contractors. Just from an employee standpoint, how are you guys? Where are you guys finding employees? How are you guys training them? How?
Well, in our industry, it's always the workforce has always been transient. They move from company to company. In fact, last year I had over 300 people on my payroll at one time or another, but rarely, I shouldn't say rarely, but probably averaged about 100 people in any given week. So that tells you that they move back and forth. Work for another company for 2 weeks and me for a month and back and forth. So,
are you okay with it that way, or would you rather find a way to kind of retain you, or is it just because of the workflow that it has to be that way?
Yeah, it's the nature of the industry and the nature of the workflow. We'll be very busy for 3 or 4 months and then slow down for a month or two. It's just the way the ebb and flow.
Working for builders, just because.
Yeah, if we have 5 builders that we do a substantial amount of work for, you would think that it would even out over the course of a year, but it doesn't. They all 5 do their work at the same time, and they all 5 slow down at the same time. It seems like
200 for 2 months and then 50 for the next month and a half.
Yeah, it's just the way builders work. It's just they got to close out at the end of the year, and they want, especially with public companies, it's all about revenues, and generally they're on a calendar fiscal year. There's a couple large builders that are on fiscal years that end in November, but still that's not that big of a deal for us.
So you find yourself kind of pulling from that same pool of guys pretty often. That way you're not having to worry about training.
I don't hire and fire the guys myself. I have foremen that do that. So I rely on them to be able to get the manpower and that kind of thing. So
are you seeing, because everybody's talking about labor shortages over the last couple of years, are you seeing any of that, or do you have enough kind of history with some guys that you don't need to worry about a lot of that?
Yeah, 6 months or a year ago, there was significant labor shortages.
Yeah.
But
not today.
No, not so much today. Things have eased up a little bit. It's eased up just last year was so crazy. So that's been a natural thing, and then you tie this China bat fever into it again, and that slowed things down a little bit. It's just hard to tell how it's going to play out here.
So you said you have kind of foremen that obviously do a lot of the hiring and firing and the labor force. What is your role in your business on a day-to-day, and kind of how do you operate? What's your management team look like?
Well, I'm responsible for the tea times.
Okay, that's good. Did you get a chance to step into our simulator yet? Did you see that?
No, I did not. Oh, I've seen it, yeah.
Okay.
In fact, Steve just walked me into it, but Justin...
He's referencing a golf simulator.
Yeah.
Just for all the people that are listening, I have no idea what we're talking about. Go ahead.
It's an insurance simulator, isn't it?
Yeah,
something like that, yeah.
Simulates insurance.
Yeah, that's the ticket. My role is management primarily. The way Shane and I have kind of split up responsibilities is he does the estimating and most of the administrative office stuff, and I'm more in managing the field.
Okay.
My experiences in the field. That's where I learned how, I worked in the field.
Right.
And Shane never did. So he's got a college degree, so he gets to do the
paperwork stuff.
the paperwork stuff.
White collar, boring stuff.
Right. I don't like to do it anyway.
So it works out. So what's the succession plan then? Did I put you on the spot there? Do you not have do it? Did I force you to think about that? Yeah.
Turn it off.
We've talked about that for some time.
Yeah.
So it's a matter of how we're going to unravel this thing.
Yeah.
Because of this, that's been put kind of on hold.
On hold, yeah.
By this, I mean
Right.
the China bat
Right.
fever.
The social experiment, as somebody once put it, that we were
Right.
talking to, the social experiment that we're in right now.
Yeah. Because of that, things have been kind of put on hold, and we've got to see exactly what's going to happen,
Right.
how it's going to
Right.
unravel, and
Yeah, and how long it's going to take to
right,
get back
exactly.
to yeah.
Are
Right.
people going to continue to buy homes?
Yeah, no, that's a
It's a big deal.
Yeah.
Yep. Do you see yourself kind of shifting into another kind of, I guess, vertical, if you will, if the home building kind of slows down, or is it something where you just,
Well,
you know what I mean, going into custom homes or going into, repair work or remodel work or something like that, or obviously the volume's not there, but
I could walk away today.
yeah.
I don't do this for the money today, okay? But what would happen if the industry shut down altogether? Like in 09, 10?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I'm too old to try to
wanna
sit
think
and
about
wait
that.
it out
Yeah.
for 3 or 4 years. I just
Yeah,
don't want to do
no.
that. So I would imagine that in the next couple of years I'll be gone.
Yeah. He means retired, folks. He's in great health.
Or the funeral where he's,
Yeah.
passing the flowers to the.
Throwing the flowers into the crowd. See who's next. Yeah, I don't, and who knows? I might not be here 2 years at all. So,
Especially golfing. Where do you like to golf?
I played last Sunday for the first time in over a year. Believe it or not, yeah. I had hurt my shoulder
okay.
and had shoulder surgery, and was really. It's been 8 or 9 months since I had the surgery, and was just getting ready after the first of the year, going to play a little golf and try see if it would work, and then this thing hit and golf courses got shut down, and and I just said,
A little more rest is probably not bad though.
yeah, but I had the opportunity to go play Sunday, and
Where'd you play at?
I played at Summit Lakes or Summer Lakes or out in Fontana, believe it
Okay.
or not. Yeah, a friend of mine called and said, "Hey, I got a time. You want to go?"
Yes, please.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It was kind of interesting to, they had the pins
Yeah.
in the cups upside down,
Yeah.
and everybody had to have their own cart.
Yeah.
And
I played Monday and it was all the same way. Yeah.
where'd you play?
I had to Harris Creek, just around the corner from me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we just said, anything that hits the pin
Yeah,
is
good.
is in the hole.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no matter how hard it is, you can ram it. Yeah, I don't care. It was good enough. But it was okay to play that way. In fact, it's not all that bad. To
Yeah.
tell you
No,
the
I
truth.
enjoyed it. They had tea time spaced out a little bit more, so it was not very rushed, and which is odd because when you're
You
not
didn't
rushed,
have the ranger pushing you.
yeah, well, those rounds usually take 5.5 hours because you're stacked up and waiting. It's, hey, hurry up so you can wait at the next hole. But this was nice and relaxed, and we finished in 4 hours and 15 minutes. It was great. Yeah.
Yep. So it was a good time. I enjoyed it, but
How'd the shoulder hold up?
very well. There's no pain at all, and just a little stiffness the
Right,
next morning,
yeah.
but most of that's probably from lack of use. Just not doing anything with it. But
So kind of back to the business. What are you guys? Where are you seeing the future? I'd probably say the immediate future, just from a job bidding standpoint and that kind of stuff. Are you Are you seeing builders kind of still putting stuff out there to be worked on in the future?
Well, I think as long as the economy holds up, what's going to happen to the economy after we come out of this? I cannot imagine that we could recover from this thing in a matter of months.
Yeah.
It's going to be a matter of years.
Right.
And if Trump loses the election and
Could
you
be
get
longer.
some idiot like Biden in there,
Could be worse, yeah.
that might be something you want to cut.
Nope.
Because
It's all one take.
that who's and they're only running Biden because I think they can get him out real quick, and then because he's incompetent, the guy's senile. But if the economy goes that way, I think we're in big trouble. If Trump doesn't win this election, I think economically we're doomed.
And not even just the construction sector either. I mean,
Right.
It will pass through everything.
Right,
Yeah.
right. When restaurants aren't open and,
Yep.
guy a haberdashery selling ties and shirts can't open, and a guy can't do the DJ work, and this thing goes it goes everywhere.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's a disaster. This is a complete disaster. It's I heard one guy saying it's the worst calamity in the history of the world, what we've done economically to the world.
Yeah.
When we shut down, when America shuts down,
Shuts the world down. Yeah.
it shuts the world
Ripple
down.
effect, yeah.
If you're not buying that shirt, some guy in Bangladesh working for $2 a day isn't getting paid.
Yep.
And that guy working for $2 a day that he can barely eat on is now in the street starving. And poverty kills a lot more people than the coronavirus ever will.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the ripple effect of what we've done. It's I just used the one example, but that goes everywhere. The whole world is reliant. Germany is 50% of the gross domestic product of Europe. 50% of the gross domestic product of the European Union is from Germany. Do you know that we buy 50% of Germany's gross domestic product? That means we buy 25% of Europe's gross domestic product only from Germany. If we quit buying that, what's going to happen to Germany?
Yeah.
They're going to collapse, which then the dominoes of the rest of the European Union falls. What happened last time we held a gun economically to Germany?
Oh yeah.
The rise of Hitler.
Yep. That's what brought him to power. Actually.
Exactly. These people get pissed
desperate.
off real easy.
Yeah.
And this is a big deal.
Yeah, no, I think we're definitely at a precipice or a tipping point where if you don't make some right moves, it's going to go the wrong way real quick.
You get me on my soapbox here.
No, I like the soapbox.
No, it's crazy, and I don't know. I guess we just got to go out and live our lives, and do what we can do, and exercise and get healthy and keep going.
Yeah, the first few weeks of quarantine were kind of like, oh, this is a party, no holds barred.
People
Right.
everywhere.
You put on those 10 or 15 pounds real quick, and also like, hey, maybe we should actually go back to
Making some money and being able to pay for that party.
That's
So
crazy.
I'm a runner, and those first 2 weeks on the trails in our area that I live in were full of people everywhere. But now, a month later, there's nobody out there.
Yeah.
Really, you've seen it die down?
Oh yeah. Well, to
Well, it was
his
almost
point,
like it was.
I think
fad
people thought they were
almost.
on vacation for
Yeah.
2 weeks. Because remember, it was, hey, from March 17th to March 31st,
Yeah.
if nobody goes
April
to work,
1st we'll be
we
back.
got 2 weeks off and we'll go, And now people are like, all right, well, I don't want to go exercise. I'm tired. And I don't, now we're in a new normal.
Now they're talking about June, yeah.
Yeah.
Or July, I've heard. My wife last night was asking me, are the kids going to be able to go back to school in the fall? And for the first time, I said, I don't know.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Well, they're talking about sending back in July or August.
I heard that, yeah. I did hear that.
I don't know how they're
Which I was
going to
a
do
little
that when they won't
confused
play
by.
baseball.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
At what point do we get to take responsibility for our lives and not rely on Nancy's nephew to tell us what
we can and can't do? Yeah,
it's insanity.
I was telling Mike right before I think you showed up. I had a friend at the beach. Over
you
the
have
weekend.
friends?
I have friends, yes. I have to call them and ask them if they'll be my friend, but like you, Brian. No, so I had a buddy that was telling me he went down to San Clemente Beach. He said it was my wife and I and my child, and we were the only ones on the beach. It was Sunday afternoon. And so we brought a little picnic down and we were eating because they opened up the beach. And he said they had the lifeguard drive up and said, I'm sorry, you're not allowed to sit down. You need to be active if you're going to be on the beach. So we had to move our setup into the car. So we brought our food and we walked in circles while the lifeguard watched. Just the insanity that we're starting to experience, It's just crazy.
Common sense is the least common commodity in the world.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And the governor's plan to announce today that he's really going to lock up all the beaches was sent out to all of the police departments so that they would be prepared for this. One of those police commissioners or whatever they're, sheriffs or whoever they are, has to say, no, I'm not doing this. I'm not going to go out and chase these people down. I got better things to do.
Yeah.
Than people walking on the beach.
I can tell you that's the case. I mean, my brother's a sheriff, and he's told me as much as, they can tell us what to do, but there's no laws that are technically in place. Like, you can't just, as a governor, say, hey, I want to make a new law. Like, that's not the way laws work. And, yeah, I mean, you're not going to get very many sheriffs to actually run around giving out $1,000 fine tickets for not wearing a mask. It's just... they got better things to do.
Well, the issue too is that people are home and they're bored. I have a buddy that builds auto dealerships, and he was telling me that it's because the manufacturers aren't making cars right now, so they're not sending them to the dealerships, so they're shut down essentially. So even their job sites, he goes, I think they have 9 or 10 different site jobs that are going on that are on hold, and they have 24-hour now security at each of the job sites because people were coming on the jobs and stealing stuff. So, people have so much time. So now we have the sheriff department or the police department that have to monitor people and make sure that they're moving in circles while they're eating, if they're even allowed to go on the beach now, right? Instead of going after the guys that are going and stealing stuff at these idle job sites. It's just crazy.
Yep, it's a joke. And I don't know. There's, my wife told me that she saw that there is a planned... protest statewide and at certain locations, and one of them is Huntington Beach Pier. And I think she was saying next weekend it's being planned that there are going to be these mass protests.
Well, some of those have already been happening. I think they've been smaller,
more spontaneous,
and nationally, I think. Although
this is supposed to be a big deal statewide, so I don't know. She saw this somewhere. I don't know, probably Facebook. Now it's been taken off. You can't hear or read things. They don't want you to hear or read anymore.
Yep.
I just was hearing on the radio coming in about this doctors in Bakersfield. He was being interviewed by the guy on the radio and talking about that hour-long video that YouTube took down because they were not in line.
Narrative,
And the radio personality asked him, did you plan this? Did you understand that this was what was going to happen? He says, no. We were asked to do an interview by a TV program, by a local TV station, and they had their trucks outside and everything, and we were just being asked questions about what I thought of this and what I thought of that. And I had done some testing on my own of my own patients, and it wasn't randomized testing, so it was specific. So it's really not real scientific as to the results. But he said that video got out to somebody here locally who then put it on YouTube, and within 24 hours we had 10 million views. He said I had no idea it was going to do that. No idea. But people are wanting to hear the truth, and I think they're understanding that the government's not giving them the truth.
Right.
Why would they start now? But drywall is still drywall.
Hasn't changed, huh?
Yeah. And so what's going to happen with the market? I guess that was your question. The short answer is I don't know. It is what it is.
You guys are staying busy now, which is good.
Right.
Yeah.
For right now.
Yeah. For now. It's almost like you got to change the way you kind of forecast and look at things from 6 to 8 months out to kind of the next couple weeks. What do the next couple weeks look like, and kind of take it 2 weeks at a time, or a month at a time, just because it's so uncertain for a while.
Yeah, for sure. Every day's new.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, got any fun stories for us from the field? Anything that's fun and exciting in your 36 years of...
Or crazy and weird? I was told, and I mean, no pressure, but I was told that you have some good ones.
When you're put on the spot.
Hey, I offered to give you the questions prior to this, and
Steve Goodman came, brought you in very highly touted on it from a story standpoint.
Yeah,
Because you go back with Steve for how many years?
I think, yeah.
Well, yeah. I think we were about 10 years old. Yeah, it's been a long time.
Goodness.
Lived in the same neighborhood. Our kids are friends.
Yeah.
It's been a long and storied relationship. So went to school with his wife, and so we've all known each other.
That's awesome.
There's a group of 4 or 5 of us that have stayed close through the years, which is really kind of nice and unusual.
Yeah.
Very unusual, yeah.
Yeah.
In fact, my son is 10, and he was having a tiff with some of the neighbors yesterday. And I told him, and then he started bad-mouthing his older sister. And I said, hey, here's the deal, buddy. Those kids outside you'll probably never see again. But your sister's blood, she's going to be with you. But,
You're stuck
but
with
that
her.
story doesn't stick with you, right?
Well, actually, it does. But your parents are going to be gone one day, and I have a brother and sister that I'm maintain relationship with. And
Right.
Yep.
Some days it's been harder than others, but when my parents passed away, all of a sudden you look and go, hey.
Yeah. None of that crap matters anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
Very cool.
Well, cool. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So if there was a great story that I could think of, I would tell you, but I can't think of,
What's funny is you'll be on your way to wherever you're going next in your car, and
Oh my God, dang it.
something great will come up, I'm sure. No, it's all good. We appreciate you coming in, Brian.
No, the insurance side of this business needs to change. They need to really work on rates and bring those rates down.
They've been coming down for the last 3 years.
How about refunds? When are they sending out refunds? I heard that they're going to do that.
Maybe.
It's a sensitive subject right now with full of all our clients. Yeah. You got Commissioner Lara out there but that's the thing, is a lot of people, he's the insurance commissioner, but people don't understand that he's an elected official.
And
He's more of
background
he's
in
more of a
insurance.
politician than he is anything knowing about insurance. So when he comes out and gives that kind of stuff or says those kind of things, and then we get all the phone calls, but yeah, the thing that a lot of people don't understand when you read that whole thing is, he said that carriers have 60 days to submit a plan on how they're going to make adjustments for the March and April period, and then another 120 days to make those payments. So from the date that he released that, what was it, a couple weeks ago, right? Carriers basically had 5 months to return any sort of money that they want to at all, which, if you understand how insurance works, I mean, they take their money, they invest it, and even if they pay out 100% of what they brought in from a premium standpoint, they're still making money because they're making 5-8% on their investment money. So from a carrier standpoint, 100% loss ratio, they're still profitable. Obviously, they don't want that, but they're still profitable. So knowing that about insurance carriers, if you think that they're going to give anything back before that 5-month mark when they absolutely have to, or 6-month mark when they absolutely have to, you're kidding yourself. So
You mean insurance companies are not benevolent?
Oh yeah. What?
So yeah, we had to kind of talk some of our clients off the ledge there because they thought that there was a stimulus bill, and it's nothing
in place with the insurance
Yeah.
side. Yeah, they don't work that way.
especially from a construction standpoint too. I mean, you understand, like, a lot of what you do is based on exposure, right? Or how much work you do, how much payroll you have. So if your work is down or your payroll is down, you're not paying as much for your insurance. So there's not really a lot to do there from a construction standpoint. Plus, a lot of the construction on the liability side is written in non-admitted carriers, so they're not governed by the state of California and their regulations. So they don't have to do anything that he says, which is even. So yeah, it's
a politician's.
It's a dog and pony
Yeah.
show. It's a politician's thing. So political thing. So yeah, but it's fun. But who knows what this is going to do to insurance rates now with all the money that's having to be paid out from a comp standpoint, because they're saying a lot of comp carriers are kind of taking it in the shorts right now with the COVID claims that are coming in. And I'm sure there's going to be a ton of lawsuits on business income claims because 98% of business income policies aren't going to cover your lost time or any of that kind of stuff, or your lost income, because one, there was no physical loss.
Right.
2, even if there was, in some way, shape, or form, a lot of them have virus or bacteria exclusions. So,
Right.
but there's already been class action suits that are being set up right now against carriers from different. Which,
And
if those
again-
things go through, it's just going to sink it'll sink the insurance industry, and then you'll be left with no insurance or paying 10 times more for the next 8 years than you were now. So, which way do you want it? You know
But
what I
the
mean?
lawyers get rich.
Oh,
Yeah.
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 That's how it works, right?
Yeah.
The ripple effect. We're in the wrong line of business.
Was it Mark Twain that says, put a lawyer in a town and he'll starve to death? Put 2 of them and they'll own it. Yeah.
That's exactly right.
I've never heard that before.
Yeah.
It makes sense. Well, thanks for coming in, Brian. We appreciate it.
Hey, it was fun.
Let the people know where to find you. How do they get a hold of you in case we got a home builder listening that wants to hire you?
It's Top Flight Industries, Inc. And the phone number is 714-998-4858.
Perfect.
So,
Give them a call.
or call Goodman Insurance, and they'll be able to put you in touch with me.
I'm sure we can find a way to get a hold of you, huh?
Yeah, yeah.
Perfect.
Very
Well,
cool.
thank you, sir. We
Thanks,
appreciate
Brian.
you coming
Appreciate
in.
it, man.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for your time.
It's my pleasure. I enjoyed it.
Get on with your day, and hopefully, are you going to more job sites today?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
I have to go out to Brea, actually.
Oh, wow.
Sometimes.
Well, it won't take long, right?
No.
Yeah.
No traffic.
No traffic. Awesome. Well, thank you, sir.
All right.
We appreciate it.
Thanks a lot.
Have a great one. Hey, thanks for listening. And if you've made it this far, go ahead and give us a like or 5 stars or whatever means you like us.
Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss our next episode. And check out our website for more video content and extras.
While you're there, shoot us a message if you want to be a guest. We'd love to have you on.
Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.